of the second assessment. You guys can see my browser here. Is that a problem? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes? No? Thank you very much. Now that we can hear it, look, I wasn't lying. Look, Geoforce. All right. Ayana, read number 1 for me, please.
Hold on, not everybody's there.
Hey, it's not my fault. Nobody's here, Pops. It's 3:02. Ayana, go ahead, please. Read.
What is the physical component where data is stored in a HDD?
So, inside the hard drive, the physical hard drive, which of these do you believe it is, Ayana?
Platter B.
Platter B. Let's see. Let's see. What do we think? Everybody remember where SoccerDiv is? 5 only is still in the room. SoccerDiv is a website which we go into, and that is a site name. So you go in as a student, look for A plus, MDCC, and Platter it is. Good, good, good. I don't know if one of the TAs wants to maybe drop a link directly to SoccerDiv in case if they don't know where it is.
Own it.
Oops, just to sign me off. Oh, by the way, please, TAs, you can't sign in more than one at a time. So if someone just tried to attempt to launch or look at it, it'll log me off.
Most likely it was me because I was doing one of the test banks. I'll log out.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that, thank you, not a problem. All right, so back to the previous program. In reference to here, we got the physical component where the data is stored. That would be the platter. What did we learn that one that writes to it, Natalia, is?
The read-write head.
That is correct. Next one, number 2. Which of the following connection types is most likely associated with an external DVD drive? Michael, what do you think?
I'm sorry, for number 2?
Yeah.
D, USB.
We'll see if everybody agrees with you. Yes, definitely USB. Why not fiber, Bluetooth, or SATA for an external DVD drive? Muhaba, why wouldn't I use fiber, Bluetooth, or SATA for an external DVD drive?
Yeah, I was answered SATA too because I thought DVD was fast and USB is not fast enough to transmit that data.
Do you agree that if it is external, SATA is not a peripheral that I can use? It would require me to go into eSATA, which would be the external equivalency for SATA. So, and this was a little key word that we needed to catch in there because that one would throw off everybody. If they read real quick, they would have read SATA because of the fact they were looking at a DVD drive. Okay. As for fiber and Bluetooth, we know that that's not, that's not going to happen. Usually fibers is going to be for data transmission over the network. Bluetooth will be your devices that you connect to, your mouse, your keyboard, and stuff like that. But you wouldn't really have a Bluetooth DVD drive. I haven't found yet. Thank you. And if you can read number 3 for us, please.
Which technology is based on flash memory and is intended eventually to replace conventional hard disk? Hard disk drives that have moving disk and other mechanisms.
So which one you think has a flash memory to replace the conventional hard drives out of these?
solid state drives?
Let's see. Let's see. Did everybody agree? Yes, definitely they agree with you there. Thank you, Mohammed. Definitely the SSD drive was the one that came out to replace the actual HDD. Next one, Ann Washington, if you can please help me out.
Which of the following RAID types uses a drive mirroring algorithm? Select 2. I would say RAID 10 and 1.
Let's see. Let's see. Did everybody agree with you? Definitely RAID 10 and 1, as we learned. RAID 1 is the original mirroring. The variance of E is that it gives us mirroring plus striping to the 4 drives minimum, right? Here we needed 2 minimum. Here we need minimum of 4.
Yeah, I just learned that from a previous little chat before the test, so I'm not an expert in this.
Yeah, that review really
That
saved
helped.
me.
I thought the 5 had mirroring also.
Interesting question. RAID 5 does have some sort of redundancy. And as we said, mirroring, since it is a mirror image of you, do you agree if I create a mirror copy of myself, it's an exact copy, complete copy. Now, in parity, there is no complete copy because of the fact that when let's say we had 4, right? We had our nibble, so there's 4 drives. So when I'm writing my nibble, by the time I get there, the last one is just a parity bit to compare if this was an even or an odd bit, whatever it was that I wrote, right? I'm sorry, the 5th bit. So the nibble was 4. So the 5th bit will compare, is this a positive or a negative number? That's all it's doing. It's not making an exact replica. Why I also emphasize that if and when you look at, let's say, RAID 1, you lose half of your data because of the fact that it requires the whole drive to create a complete mirror image of whatever you created. What do they mean by half of space? If you have a 5 gig drive and another 5 gig drive, it is a total of 10 gigs. But unfortunately, since now you have mirrored this 5 gig drive, in essence, all you have is 5 gigs. One is a complete mirror of the other. In RAID 5, this does not happen. You only lose an nth of the amount. What do I mean by that? 1/n of the amount, because you lose 1 to the parity bit, and that's it. And it's spread out through all the different drives, that parity bit. Therefore, you lose less space. And in that case, there is no mirroring since there is no exact copy. I hope that explains a little bit better, sorry, RAID 5. Josh? No, maybe? Okay. Next one. Nicole, if you can please read this one and while we start voting there.
Which of the following requires a minimum of 4 hard drives? RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, or RAID 10? I would have to say that would be RAID 10 because it's
RAID
and striping.
10, definitely. RAID 10 is the one that requires 4. Is there any other RAID, Nicole, that may require 4?
I think can't all of these configurations use 4, but 10
Minimum.
need 4?
Sorry. Yeah, correct. There is one more though that the minimum drives is 4. So it's almost it was the one that you kept on asking me why was it?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's his, what is his foreign cousin that you can call him. Or what is it when you're not identical twins? You're what? You're paternal twins or maternal twins or whatever you call it. I don't know. Where you're not identical twins, but you're the other ones. I guess Siamese twins.
It's fraternal.
What is that?
Fraternal twins. There we go. You can call them fraternal twins, where they kind of don't look nothing alike, but they are alike. Next one, number 6. Arturo, please help me out.
Says a user wants to convert their current computer into an audio/video editing workstation by upgrading components. They want to start by upgrading the hard drive. Which of the following hard drive should be chosen to maximize read/write speed? I think I got this one wrong, but from what I saw in the test, I think it was A, right?
Zip drive, okay.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, it's different on my thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Be careful when you say A,
Sorry.
because
my fault.
I purposely do that in case if somebody's looking at what the answer is here and they just click away.
Okay.
I shuffle the answer.
Yeah, it was different on my. I for some reason I thought it was 15,000 RPM SATA.
Mm-hmm.
I just correlated hard.
I did that too.
Same.
Yeah, I like correlated. Oh, hard drives, SATA, and then I'm like, well, the RPM is a lot faster. And IDE, I was like, oh, it's PATA. I was like, IDE is like PATA. I'm just like, well, no, it's SATA more. Yeah. So, but I disregarded the solid state drive.
I completely ignored the SSD.
This is that the correct answer on the test, on the real test, was USB flash instead of the SSD drive and flash drive.
I was just gonna say that. Thanks, Natalia.
The what? I'm sorry.
The correct answer was USB flash.
For Christmas either.
Yeah, on the test it was USB flash, not SSD.
Yeah. And I don't understand why it's that's correct answer.
I'm sorry. Repeat if somebody, because everybody was talking.
Okay.
And I'm part deaf. You guys got to believe it or not. I'm one of those idiots that had that nice bass behind them for quite a time, and it would vibrate. So therefore, if more than one person talks, it's very difficult for me to hear. Sorry.
Natalia, you have the floor.
Okay. So in the real test, instead of correct answer being like on the Socrative SSD drive or flash drive, we get correct answer USB flash.
Okay.
And I don't understand why USB flash is correct answer. I would think that that's external, not internal, and with upgrade.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of not sure about the correct answer here.
Yeah, it's kind of messing with everybody, right? All right. So now let's debate this real good in reference to that flash drive. If you notice here, it is telling you SSD drive or flash drive. It's still saying a flash drive here. Now, let's debate the USB factor that you're telling me. Not a problem. Now, let's look at the other two. Let's stay with the USB drive. I got no problem with that. Let's stick with their answer. Now, the other two that are available is a 1500 RPM SATA or a 1700 RPM IDE. Out of those two, which one's faster?
The SATA.
15,000 SATA.
15,000 SATA. Why is the 15,000 SATA faster than the 1700 IDE?
IDE is parallel, it's older, and it's slower connection, plus the number of rotation of the disk. The RPMs is higher on SATA.
Okay, rotation of the disk. What do you mean by rotation of the disk? What type of disk is this that you speak of now? Rotation of what type of disk? Is this
a hard drive?
A hard drive.
Yes.
Oh, look, now we're talking about an HDD drive that goes either at 7200. My port is an IDE. An HDD drive, my speed is 1500. My port is SATA. Or I got a drive on the USB port. Who's faster?
USB port is faster, obviously.
The USB
but I would think that it's
would the memory chip be faster than the drive rotating.
I absolutely agree with that, but I think that it's external, and with upgrading the computer, I'm not sure that that's the case.
How fast does a USB 3 go?
So I think what she's saying, and this is how I was thinking, is not that it's not that we don't know that the USB was faster. It's just that because the wording was you were upgrading the computer, we were assuming we're replacing something inside of the case and not doing something external.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I would have to understand exactly where you're coming from. Gamers, save me on this one. Would you go and buy a whole bunch of hard drives? Or are you going to get an external drive that's 18 terabytes?
External.
What you going to do?
Get a drive.
I'd get an M.2 drive. No. To be honest.
I agree with you, Benjamin.
I'd get an M.2. That's just me.
Out of the two, would you go with the ID internal or would you go with an external?
External. External for sure. The hard drive is a lot slower than the external, for sure. Especially if it's 3.0.
Where they're tricking you is with the port interface. I understand what you're saying, the speed of the port interface, but you have to understand that the flash drive is much faster than a regular drive. A hard drive has to spin, and it only does so many revolutions per minute. It's just like a random access memory module, right? But this one is non-volatile, we said. So it's just like a RAM chip. It's real fast. Therefore, it doesn't have to rotate to access the information. Therefore, even if it is on, I understand what you're saying, it's probably slower than SATA, maybe in the access speed. But what did I always say? They keep on selling you on SATA, but who are you in reality? How fast are you? As slow as this 1500. So it doesn't matter how fast your port is. Unfortunately, your drive's only spinning at 1500 revolutions per minute. Therefore, the speed that it takes for that hard drive to be able to access the information and feed it, yeah, it's like going into the highway and there's only like about 2 or 3 cars in there. But in essence, there's only 2 or 3 cars going on a highway. There's just so much information that's coming out of that SATA port because, yeah, the SATA port's fast to escape, but the hard drive internally is slow. I hope that helps on that trick question and the logic. No, yes, maybe.
Yeah, it
yeah,
helps.
I get it.
Yeah. They're gonna do that a lot to you in the real test. They're gonna throw you some weird question that you have to think about it. Out of all of them, logically, which one will be? Because in essence, they're telling me audio and editing. What do I need this for? Do I need it for the operating system? Or do I need it for storage? I need it for long-term storage. And that's why I was asking the gamers to help me out because they know what I'm talking about. A lot of times you have to put even your physical games onto these external drives and just play it off there. Because unfortunately, I had to go and uninstall COD today because either that, I wouldn't be able to play. I mean, I actually have class today because my hard drive was completely red. I got the latest and greatest update last night on COD and on my latest games. So my hard drive was like, couldn't fit anymore. And I don't have the external drive. My only choice was to uninstall at that point. Next one here. Benjamin, help me out on this one.
What features of ATX systems prevents a user from turning off a system before the operating system has been shut down? I chose soft power.
Soft power. That is correct.
You weren't sure at first?
No, I was just playing around with him. It was just trying to make him sweat there. In reference to the motherboard power connector, that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. CMOS setup, once again, nothing to do with what we're talking about. And lastly, sleep mode. That's got nothing to do with turning it off, right? So therefore, as my friend Spock would say, when you eliminate the impossible, no matter what improbable left must be the answer. Next one, Shiloh, help me out.
Of the following voltage pairings, which one accurately represents the input and output, respectively, of power supplies and AC adapters? I chose AC in, DC out.
AC in, DC out. Everyone agree?
Yep.
Apparently everyone. Woohoo! Next one, Walkins.
Which of the following is not a consideration when upgrading power supplies? Which one did I choose? B, you might find that your case has a non-removable power supply.
I would have to definitely agree with you. B, you might find that your case has a non-removable power supply is the most improbable one. If the one didn't read or hear what he just said, it was not. Therefore, we did state we may not internally take it apart, but we may remove the 4 screws and take the puppy out and put un quita y pon, which means I take out and put another one in. Questions or concerns on this one? Next one. Josh, help me out.
Okay, let's see. When replacing a power supply, which of the following tends to vary among power supplies and must be chosen properly to support all connected devices? A, wattage, B, voltage, C, amperage, and D, resistance. So I really didn't have any idea about this one, but I managed to guess the correct answer, which was wattage.
Interesting. Can somebody explain to him why the answer is wattage? Anyone? Did everybody just guess right?
I did. I just remembered you talked about it earlier in class and was like, oh, it must be wattage.
It has to.
Well, it runs on wattage.
Yeah, but can we explain why, when we're looking to replace, why we need to run on watts? We need to look at the watts.
Isn't it the volts times the amps equals the wattage?
That is true.
To have the right amount of power.
That is true. So we do agree all of them are going to be taking so many volts. All of them are either taking 12, they're either 5 or 3. And all of them have a pull. Like we said, a pull, or how much is coming pressure through that hose. So how much pressure does that puppy need? If I don't have enough, that PSU, power supply unit, will basically not power up everything, where we get a black screen or something happens. So we need to be able to take note of the wattage, which is the current voltage that the unit is using times the amperage, which gives you the total wattage. So if voltage, we said, was the droplets, right? And amperage is the pressure wise, whatever. What's resistance?
Ohms.
You're getting there. Yeah, it's measured. So resistance will deal with the actual wire. How much can that puppy actually take? So you have your voltage, you have your amp, and now you go and put a little frail wire. That's, like I said, was as good as going and putting a garden hose onto a fire hydrant. The moment you do that to that wire, its resistance is not going to take it. One, it doesn't fit, and two, the moment that you put it, it's going to fly away from your hand because obviously the pressure is too much. In this case, unfortunately, in electricity, if the resistance of the line cannot take it, it will burn. So that's why we need to know what's the resistance of the actual wire. Those are keywords in there. The one that we do need to know is wattage, specifically for the power supply units to identify all the amperages. And I stated the actual units themselves contain documentation that you can look up in the internet or in the back of the unit. Sometimes they put a nice little beautiful label that'll probably either be in volts and amps, or they'll even be even cuter and give you the actual watts. Be very careful because of the fact that sometimes if they do give you that information, it will contain the 110 number and the 220 number. Therefore, you need to make sure which calculation you're doing. Any questions? Also, in reference to the UPS, not the PSU, but the UPS, which is the uninterrupted power supply, you need to know wattage, because the uninterrupted power supply also needs to be able to cover everything that's being powered on. Next one. Freelies, Alfredis, please.
Which of the following statements about power supplies is true? I chose C. Oh, it's true? Hold on. It's true. Wait, no. I chose, yeah, C.
Power supplies and power to ATX P8 or P9. What's the usual commonly known connector going onto the motherboard? If somebody can help out, please, from a PSU to the actual motherboard. What's that big 20 called? I called it the Terminator
P1.
one. P1, thank you. Yeah, power one main. If you ever forget, it's always power one main. That's the way I remember. P1 is power one. Next here though is D. Hopefully we all got to that one, which is it converts from AC to DC. Ooh-wee. Got me some numbers here. Fadil, help me out. Bail me out on this one. Come on, I know you know this one.
I can help you with this one. What are the output voltage that have been commonly produced by PC power supplies over the years? Okay. Let's start from 5 volt, minus 5 volt, plus 12 volt, plus 3.3 volt, minus 12 volt.
All right, that's 5. That is correct. That's all of them there. Good job. Real good job. Next one, Mohaba. I think you just moved around. How'd you get all the way down there? Weren't you up there? It's like playing Hollywood Squares and they move on you.
What peripheral port type was originally developed by Apple and is currently regarded as the optimal interface for digital video transfer?
Okay.
So I chose A.
A? In yours, but in mine, is it DVD you want? You want DVD?
No.
Oh, okay. What's it on mine?
Let me see. C.
C?
Yeah.
Okay. There we are. Yes. The IEEE 1394 is the weird cable that always has that number on it. We also know it as, what's his friendly name?
HDMI.
No, not HDMI.
Firewire.
It's burning in
Firewire.
Burn. Just remember, somebody's burning that apple tree, man.
Who said HDMI?
I have no idea. I'm not even gonna repeat it. It was Michael. Oh. All right. Speaking of, Kevin, help me out with the next one.
What peripheral port type is expandable using a hub, operates at 1.5 megabytes per second? Is that megabytes or megabits? Megabytes.
Yeah, megabytes. Yeah, it has the big B.
and is used to connect the various devices from printers to cameras to PCs. That's C, USB 1.1.
1.1, yes. On my screen is B, but I would agree USB 1.1. And how do we do? Yes. You guys loving the review yet? Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, who did the math on that one? Tell me the truth.
I did.
Next,
That review helped.
next one here, who we got next is Michael. Did I pick on you yet? How'd you get all the way up there? I don't remember you all the way up there. Go ahead, man.
Mr. HDMI.
You're right here. You know all about you.
Which of the following interfaces is equivalent to DisplayPort with PCIe added in? My answer was Thunderbolt.
Everybody agree? Let's see. Come on, guys. Woo! I think you guys are just smiling throughout that whole review. Next one. Here we are. Ayana, help me out with this one, please.
Which of the following is not an example of a connector for a standard peripheral input device? 1/8 inch jack.
I would have to agree. Definitely agree. As we learned, USB D sub miniatures, there's several of them, the DB15, the DB9, and we have the mini DINs, and usually the 1/8 jacks are only for audio equipment. That's what they're used for. No data and or other connectors usually connected to it. Next one.
I was confused on that one.
Okay. In the previous one?
Yeah.
Okay. So explain your question, please.
Well, because when I think of the 1/8 inch jack, I also think of like the microphone input. So, I mean, and I like a microphone would be peripheral to a computer, right? So, yeah, it just an example of a connector for a standard peripheral input device. I mean, I didn't understand how that one doesn't fit.
Okay. Out of the four, would you agree that the 1/8 jack, I can't connect a mouse ever to that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you were aware, but back in the days, you could connect a mouse to a serial port. You can connect a mouse to a USB port. You can connect a mouse to a PS2. Do you see where I'm going with this or no? The mouse can go into different connections. In this case, the 1/8 jack is only used for audio. There's only really one use for it. Is what they're getting for here is the standard peripheral input device. In other words, usually what can I connect any type of input? What is that I use? And the common ones for anything besides audio are the mini DINs, the D sub miniatures, and the USBs. Those would be the ones that I connect those type of devices to. Be a printer, right? That's going to be on a DB15, a USB. I can put a printer to a USB, but I can't put a printer to a 1/8 jack. I hope that explains a little bit better. All right, cool. Yeah, I love these questions because they're very weird curveballs, and that's what they're trying to do to you. You like I said, they're going to give you where all answers are right, or all answers technically would be wrong in some cases. But you have to look for the worst out of all of them or the best out of all of them. Unfortunately, they throw these curveballs on you. Next one. What was I? That was Ayana and Michael. I just said, right? And Washington, please.
Okay. Which of the following allows for audio and video connections using a single cable? That's HDMI.
HDMI, correct. That's the one that everyone loves. You got in the back of your TV. You no longer do you require to have the three, which was the art for the RCA, the yellow, the red, and the white. Now it was all in one, and it was no longer an analog signal. It was also a digital signal, right? All right, next one. Thank you very much, Anne. Nicole, help me out with this one, please.
Which of the following connectors would be found on a twisted pair? RJ45.
Yes, RJ45. We learned it for the twisted pair. We also studied the RJ11, which is the one for the phone, may be used also if they're going to be using for phones. The BNC, we said it was the for the actual coaxial cable. As for the SC and ST connectors, we haven't actually reviewed those, and those would be on fiber optics for either long haul or short haul fiber. Next one here, if we can have Benjamin, help me out, please.
Which of the following would be the best choice as a personal display technology if a user wants to save desk space and not have to deal with interference from nearby speakers? B, LCD.
LCD monitors, we said yes. As for why not HDMI? Why can't I get myself with an HDMI monitor?
It's not a type of monitor.
It's not a monitor. Okay, thank you. See how silly sometimes they put these things. For us, it sounds silly, but just imagine somebody that didn't study at all. No, I was got to be an HDMI. That's what I want. Why not a projector?
Yes.
I chose projector because it would save you the desk space.
I would agree with you definitely.
That's what I thought too.
It does save you desk space. Where you going? How are you gonna work with a projector? Please explain. They tricked you there.
Personal display.
You gotta think about it. It's
When I
you're
say
gonna have to
personal
have a
display,
big, humongous screen, right? Either or put it. God only knows where. So no longer are you really on your desk per se as a. That was a weird question. A lot of people love to pick projector. That's why I was asking. Why
Because
not
they want
projector?
a projector as a personal monitor. That's cool.
That's
But
me
that's
right there,
not.
man. The
But
last
that's
time I
not
went
it.
to my friend's house up north in the basement, he had the projector going to the wall. So he painted the wall white. And since in the basement is completely dark, oh man, I was so upset. High definition and everything, bro. I was like playing Call of Duty. Anyways, back to you guys. Any questions or doubts in reference to why we selected LCD instead of CRT? And obviously, projector was just to trick you there.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Can you address this part about the not having to deal with interference from nearby speakers? How does that point to the LCD?
Okay. The first thing that they asked us, besides the interference with speaker, was saving desk space. Do you agree?
Yes.
So CRT is much bigger than an LCD. Do we agree?
Yes.
Now, on top of they asked you to give you that, when you go and buy the LCD, they also tell you that they want no interference from nearby speakers. Which LCD would I buy?
LED.
Thank you. That's why they also asked you that, is to hint even further. I want an LCD. On top of that, I want an LCD. I want it to have the backlight that's an LED, not the tube. Because if it was a tube, you're going to have interference with the actual speakers if they're nearby.
Thank you.
Again, projector would be interference with speakers. That would also mess with you, by the way. Next one. That who just read? Who's on first? I believe we're at Watkins. That was Benjamin that you just read? Watkins, go ahead, please.
Which of the following has been common methods to backlight an LCD monitor? Choose two. LED and fluorescent bulbs.
Great. Let's see how we. Nice. We kind of just said that, didn't we? All right. Next one. Josh.
Okay. What statement about LCD monitors is most accurate? The concept of refresh rate has no meaning with regard to LCDs. Those based on IPS technology suffer from color shifts when viewed from the edges. Those based on TN technology are preferred by gamers, and the electrical field generated by generate magnetic field that eventually must be removed. So apparently the answer was something about gamers, but I just ignored that one and went with the viewing from the edges one.
Viewing from the edges.
That's
Interesting.
the one I
So what
chose.
would be what is the one with the viewing with the edges when I'm going like this? Anybody remember what that is? With a horrible
Passive
angle?
matrix or something?
Thank you. Yes, that's where matrix comes along. Just remember that the matrix has to do when you're passing by. The matrix got to do with passive matrix. People, just work with me. It's the only way I remember these things. They just got so many weird names. Questions or doubts? So apparently it is the TN technology. And for bonus, somebody except for who told me during the actual study session can actually tell me what does TN stand for?
Twisted pneumatic?
Okay.
No.
There you go. I believe that is the name. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct.
I believe that you were doubting yourself, but that's the name. That's the name. Next one. That was okay. Josh.
I already did the previous one.
Oh, you did? Sorry about that. Freeless. You're on mute.
When approaching an older LCD panel from the side, you don't realize there's actually an image displayed on it unless you are almost in front of it. Which options could not detect the image from the side? Choose two. A, older LCDs were equipped with motion sensor. B, multiple motion monitors are in use and the LCD is the secondary monitor, resulting in poor oblique visibility. C, the user has a privacy filter in place. D, the monitor employs active matrix pixel addressing, or E, is a passive matrix LCD panel. I think it's E and A.
The motion sensor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, sorry. E and no, because it switched up. E and which one did I pick? C.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to agree. Definitely the user's privacy filter and or the passive matrix on the LCD panel itself may cause the actual problem. Next one. Muhaba.
Which of the following cable types deliver a digital signal? Select two. VGA and DVIA.
Let's see. Does everybody agree with you? Apparently they do. That is correct. VGA is one of them, and DVIA is the other one from the list that we were given. Thank you very much, Muhammad. Next one, Shiloh. You're on mute, buddy. Still on mute. Can
I'm
he
sorry.
There we go.
Yes. Which of the following parts of a laptop screen provides illumination for the LCD? B, backlight.
Okay. And why not bezel? Anyone know what a bezel is?
Isn't that the screen on watches?
Isn't that what holds the screen? Like the
Thank
edge?
you.
Oh.
There you go. Just to make sure they don't mess with you guys because they didn't tell us this in the presentations, and I'm not sure if they actually tell you too much. So yes, the bezel is the area, and it is on a watch. This is the bezel of the watch. The little thing on the around here, from if I recall correctly, is of the watch. The same thing. So just the same thing on the screen. It's that plastic thing that's around the screen in the front. They got to come up with a name, right? From my understanding, that is the bezel. And as we learned, the backlight is the one that actually provides the illumination for the LCD. The inverter inverts the actual DC back to AC. Thank you. Next one,
Diego,
Natalia.
can you show the bezel again?
A bezel?
On your
I'm
watch.
sorry.
I wanted
My
to
watch.
see
I believe
yeah.
the bezel is this part right here, the little ring.
Nice. Nice.
Oh,
I
you
see
just
it.
want to look at the watch, is what
That's
you want to look
nice, nice, nice.
Funny guys. I was about to go and take out a picture of the bezel. You guys go too far. Let's go. Number 25. Who's next? Here. Oh, Natalia, I said, right? All right.
You had been asked to set up a workstation for a new graphic designer at your company. Which of the following is not requirement for a graphic design workstation? Fast hard drive, maximum RAM, powerful CPU, high-end video. I think powerful CPU.
Powerful CPU, definitely yes. As we stated, for the graphics designer, they're not going to be using that because the GPU will be doing the job for them. Next one, Kevin.
You have been hired as a consultant for a video editing company that needs all new workstations for its 6 editors. Which of the following is required when constructing an AV editing workstation? Fast hard drive.
And survey says, bing. Got you all worried. You're like, no. That is definitely it. Why not maximum RAM or a powerful processor? I gotta keep on saying 3080 just for.
I got that one.
I got that one wrong. So why is it?
The processor doesn't have anything to do with
3080. Remember the 3080 that Benjamin's buying? The latest and greatest video graphics card
The
will
video card
have
has its own.
has its own RAM, and it has its own memory. And out of all of them, the one that is a mandate would be the faster hard drive. SSD, remember that guy? All right. Next one. Arturo.
Okay. Marcus, a network technician, has been asked to build an HTPC for his manager. Which of the following is not a common requirement that Marcus should consider for his custom configuration? I said the micro ATX case.
Micro ATX case. Definitely, I wouldn't need that, and I wouldn't even recommend it because of the fact that this is a home theater PC. In this case, you're gonna need the surround sound, the HDMI, and a TV tuner. As for a smaller case, that's not gonna help you. Next one. Fadil. You're on mute, Fadil. for some weird reason.
Sorry.
No problem.
You have recently installed a home server PC in your home so that all of your family members can share media. You have a router and network cabling that support gigabit internet. Why should you equip home server PC with a gigabit NIC? I choose the server should exceed the maximum communication speed of the client to avoid bottleneck.
Sounds like a perfect idea. As we stated, we want to be much faster than everybody out there because of the fact that when everyone starts to connect to us, if we're at the exact same maximum speed, it will obviously create a bottleneck and they will experience major lag. Thank you. Next one. Fatia?
The video editor at your company wants a second monitor, claiming that only having one monitor limits ability to work. Why do AV editing stations benefit from more than one monitor? I didn't get the right answer, but the correct one would be the second one. While one graphics adapter works on one rendering project, the other can simply display a normal desktop.
We're close, but as I said in
Oh, so-
the actual, yeah. When I said in the review was that the problem what they have is that all these controls and what might have threw you off is they kind of tell you what they're doing. And what happens is yes, they are rendering on one side and then the other side they will be doing their controls or whatever it is. This software needs a lot of space. And for them to have it all in one, it makes it very hard to be able to do their job. So that's why. But you were close.
I mean, it was the first one, but I put the second one.
I got
Sorry.
you. Okay. No, not a problem. I mean, that's why we're here to review and make sure we understand. But that is a trick question. They do that. But just see, notice though, in this explanation though, they threw a curveball because of the fact, why would I just want to see my normal desktop? That's where they're throwing you off. The second part of the sentence says that while I'm rendering, I just want to go and look at my desktop. And in the function of their job, the controls take up so much space that they need a very, very big desktop, which usually is 2 monitors. Okay, and the last one here. Ayana, please.
A user has a CAD CAM workstation that is to be reconfigured into a gaming PC. Which of the following will be the easiest and most effective upgrade? Add a better sound card.
Well, this was like a throw me a bone. This was like too easy. Why don't you just put? Yeah, definitely add a better sound card, right? Because this one's got a bunch of stuff already, right? It's a AutoCAD machine. It's got everything else, and the only thing you really need is just a sound card because the sound card that it has is pretty much probably the default.
I chose the USB one though for that one.
Yeah,
For real?
it
What
wasn't a
was the
gaming
option?
for me.
Because it's hot swappable or whatever. You can swap it out without turning off the computer, so it'd be or shouldn't it be hot swappable?
But why would you install? Okay, let's think about. Remember that the mandates of an AutoCAD PC versus a gamer's PC. Out of all the things that an AutoCAD PC has compared to a gamer's PC, if you check very carefully, the only thing that it doesn't have is a better sound card. The easiest and cheapest, because I didn't, I can go and get myself real good cooling and all that other stuff. But out of the options that I have here, the current sound card that I have it's just a default one. It doesn't have the surround sound or any of those features that I want for a gaming PC. That makes sense? Hopefully.
What is a CAD?
AutoCAD?
Or CAD /
AutoCAD
CAM?
AutoCAD is a type of drawing that they use program for basically building schematics. They'll build you a boat. Everything gets
3D
built in.
modeling.
3D modeling's in here. So this needs to be able to render everything in there. And it's got to be able to calculate all that stuff. So every floor, I can zoom into this thing and check every single floor, how it's built. There goes the doors. I'm not sure if anybody's used to reading any of this. That's my stairs. Here's my sinks, my door to come into the main lobby there. All that you should be, if you get used to this, you should be able to read this. On top of that, I am able to read this with the actual network drops and everything here. They will give you this. They're going to give you the drawing of the floor with the drops. You've got to be able to decipher on what's what. This is nothing like it, but you can see these things are even your baseball stadiums, football stadiums, soccer stadiums, all this stuff are done in AutoCAD. So it's a very sophisticated program. It can completely build a brand new house for you, even with the wiring and everything. Therefore, it requires a lot of power. The only thing it doesn't have is sound, because I can care less about the sound unless if I want to hear how your surround sound in your living room sounded or something. I'm not sure where I'm going with that. But as you can see, an AutoCAD or a graphics PC, that's what a CAD and CAM is. It's a graphic designer's PC.
Thank you.
That, my friends, unless if you guys have any other questions, is my review on what was this? Our number 2, assessment number 2.
T9 through T8, or T9 through T14.